it's Necey Dixon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, y'all, welcome back. Okay, y'all, I feel like that's probably the best welcome that I done hit all of 2022. All of the past 4 days here. That's probably the best one I done hit. And truth be told, the reason why, y'all, I had a delightful day. Okay, let me be real, y'all, because the ones who are here early, y'all know we friends. Okay, so I gotta tell y'all, like, just for a hot second, what I did today. Caught up with an old friend. I went to Kitchen and Cocktails in Dallas. I know they got a location in Chicago. I had the peach douce. Y'all, the peach douce was hitting. Okay, I had 2 of them, but that was hours ago, so I'm good now. I'm just sleepy and I'm in really good spirits. I'm ready to talk to y'all. Okay, and let me not confuse y'all. I told y'all I had 2 peach douces, but I can still tell y'all the difference between 2 parent household. For those of you who saw the interview, that's an insider. Okay, even though I didn't have my little drink, okay, I can definitely tell y'all the difference between 2 parent households, okay? It was a really entertaining interview. I low-key wanted to come on and talk to y'all last night, but I had to pre-record my Portia's Family Mess review because that was some damn mess. So if you haven't got a chance to check out that review on Portia's Family Mess, y'all go ahead and check that out, okay? Now, let me go ahead and say what's up to the people in the chat. Alicia, always the first to comment. Hey, girl, Naturally Mar. Kenya, hey, Faith. Kimberly, Asia. T, I know she don't be playing with the notifications. I'm so glad that they notified y'all. They should have, because I had this live scheduled since yesterday. So that's one of my goals in the new year. Hey, Josiah. One of my goals in the new year, Honeybee, Carla, J-Dub, is to do a better job of notifying y'all way ahead of time before I go live. Okay? I'm gonna be real. I can do that better. I can tell y'all at least a good couple hours in advance when I'm gonna go live. Because towards the end of 2021, I was like, boop, I'm gonna go live in 15 minutes. But no. I'm gonna be respectful. I want y'all to be here and I don't want y'all to miss nothing. So I had to give y'all this notification way ahead of time, okay? Again, y'all, for those of you who are new, since we're on the intro, y'all be sure to get a chance to check out my Instagram posts, my tweets. I like to tweet about my shows, especially Married at First Sight. Hey, Sugar Shan. Married at First Sight. That's coming back tomorrow. So if y'all really are like, damn, I'm watching the episode and I really want to know what Necey thinks about this one scene, and you don't want to wait till the next morning, check my Twitter, because if it was something that was piping hot, I probably tweeted about it. So go ahead, check me out on Instagram and Twitter. Yes, J-Dub, we are on the way to 10,000, okay? We're about 1,000 short, just about. So for those of you who are here, y'all claim y'all fool with me. I know y'all do. Check if you're subscribed, because some people be like, oh my gosh, Necey, I didn't notice that I wasn't subscribed. I'm like, girl, boy, y'all, what y'all doing? Okay. But in other news, y'all, I think we can go ahead and get into this interview. Now, the interview was entertaining, okay? It definitely was. Arionne, she killed me. If y'all follow me on Instagram, like I said, I posted on my story the little clip, the teaser video that Tasha K has shared. And you see Arionne walking left, right, left. She was walking real straight. And they made the video look real suspicious. Okay, she had on her side chick heels, side chick nails. Okay, it ain't nothing wrong with that, because I like me a little long nail too, but just the suspense behind the whole video to me was just like, is she really gonna come with the tea or no? Is she or is she not? I felt like she came, and the interview was definitely a way for her to try to clear her name, but also to try to expand on some of the points that Martell was trying to make at the reunion, okay? if I had to pick like probably 2 points, 2 or 3 points that she wanted to make, okay? Number one was that she was not checking for Martell. Martell was checking for her. That was her first point, okay? The second point was that I'm very smart. I was in nursing school, I was in class, I was in clinicals, and what's the third thing? 2-parent household. The second point was that she's very smart, is that what she wanted us to believe. The third point was that she doesn't believe that she ruined their relationship and that there would be no apology. So I guess that's like 3.3 or 3.5 points, okay? There were some main points that she wanted us to understand. She did speak on her and Mel's relationship. She also was like, y'all, let's talk about likeness, okay? Let's talk about likeness. She made it a point to continue to say that OWN Network was using her likeness to fuel the 3 seasons of Love and Marriage Huntsville that we've been seeing. Girl. So since she said that, I decided to do all of us a favor, and we're going to start out the review like this. I searched the legal definition of likeness in 2 different states, okay? So let me read this to y'all, okay? Arionne kept making it a point that not only was Mel and Martell and the other couples using her likeness, but she got a personal beef with Oprah. Y'all, I have to say this, okay? Part of me kind of left the interview maybe just with a grain of salt, feeling a little bit bad for her because I know that she was telling us her truth. And I know that she believed all of the words that were coming out of her mouth. And that's sad. That's sad, okay? In my Bella Noche voice. But it also made more sense to me that this is why Martell chose her. Arionne depicts the standard of intelligence that Martell expects every woman to have. And it was very clear to us, me, in that interview, where him and her have a lot of commonalities and where Mel does not. Mel is above it. So let's go ahead and get to this definition, okay? Likeness rights. In addition to using a copyrighted work, you can also be sued for using someone else's name, likeness, or personal attributes without permission, most often when used commercially. Now, I don't know if I want to read that entire thing, but let me give y'all an example towards the bottom. It says, here's an illustration. If you were to use a picture of David Hasselhoff on your next album cover without permission, the photographer may have a claim for copyright infringement, and Hasselhoff would also retain a claim for violation of the right of publicity, okay? So that's one example. I thought an easier example to explain to y'all was they say copyright. So usually it's something that's like an image, okay? So for example, those of you who's had the opportunity to check out Mel's interview, Telltale Signs, right? In the music video, she has a lover, and the song is obviously about a breakup. The man pops on screen wearing those medium-ass button-up shirts. He's a chocolate man. The only thing he was missing was the bald hair. Now, that's more closer to the likeness of Martell Holt. After watching Love and Marriage Huntsville for 3 seasons, I don't think that she has a case. I don't think she has a case. Because the thing is, your story, Arionne, runs into Mel and Martell's story. It would only be a case for likeness if you felt that your brand or your image was shown on TV. And I feel like from what we've seen on the show is they only refer to you as a side piece. They refer to you as coleslaw. I don't think I've heard them say you by name besides when it came to the reunion. So my thing is, if you think your likeness is in agreement with that of coleslaw, like Jay Lee said on her Instagram story, that of coleslaw, if you think that you represent the side chicks of America and the public opinion is, ooh, side chick, ooh, Arionne Curry, then you have a case. But for now, baby, you need to go back to whatever college you went to and you need to sit in the class. Because I'm like, you had so many points and you definitely had a motive when you came on this interview. And I understand where you was coming from. I understand what you was trying to get to, but in my opinion, it didn't give what you thought it was gonna give. It didn't. It didn't give what you thought it was supposed to give, Arionne. I'm sorry. And she starts out the interview, like I told y'all. She starts out the interview talking about how the cast has profited off of her back. Tasha tells her that the show has built up on Arionne. Tasha, okay, you did a good job with this interview. But it was one huge point where I'm like, damn, I wish you would have asked two points, Tasha, where I wish that you would have did a little bit more. I'm jumping all over the place because the interview was all over the place. But like I said, y'all, we friends, so we could just sit here and talk, right? So it was 2 points where I feel like I wish Tasha would have just put her foot on the gas for a little bit longer. There was one point in the interview where Arionne had said that she called Mel on the phone to discuss the keying of her friend's car because it sounded like she was saying it was a friend that Mel used to mess with, talk to, mess with, deal with. What? So Arionne, were you saying that Mel had relations with somebody who you knew while you were having relations with Mel's husband? I wish Tasha would have put the foot on the gas when it came to that, because I was like, what? Now, another time there where I wish that she would have put her foot on the gas. Damn, how did I forget, y'all? How did I forget the other time? Don't worry, y'all. I'll remember once we get into this review, okay? Like I said, I didn't have my 2 peach juice, so I'm excited. I can't remember the second time, but let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the picture. I know all of y'all are here and y'all are excited to talk about it. I'm gonna be reading the comments, and I saw Jamie last night. Shout out to Jamie, that's me. She had a couple of subscribers come on and actually talk to her, and I'm considering doing that as well. But I don't want to be sitting here looking crazy, okay? So I'm gonna talk through my points. But if any of y'all would like to come on and have discussions with me about the interview last night or about the show in general, let me know. And I'll paste the link in the comments and we can have a whole conversation. Because I'm like, in 2022, I keep saying we friends, right? But let's really be friends. Like, let's have conversation. I see J-Dub is ready. The best commenter on YouTube, he's ready, okay? So let me go ahead and get started with this review, but I know y'all are lighting up the comments, so I don't want to miss anything there just yet. T says she has no damn case. Cammy says she deserves a Side Chick of the Year award. Thank you, Sam. Hey, California cutie. Let's see. Ayana says her name was shown the day her and Martells spoke when he asked for a DNA test. Yes, I do remember that. But she addresses that in the interview. So we're going to talk about that as well. That's why I also feel like that's not a likeness case, because she discussed that scene with the producers. When her and Martell had a scene, if that's what you want to call it, because she was on the phone. You didn't really have a scene if you were on the phone. When she had that scene, it was in discussion with the producers that she would be filming and her name and voice would be used on the show. So again, I don't think that that's the case for likeness at all. Renee says Tasha mentally dog walked her. You know what? What's funny is I don't even know if Tasha had to do anything to make it look like it was a dog walk. And that's what I mean when I tell y'all, when I saw her in this interview, I was like, girl, you got Martell all over you. You literally have the IQ of a woman who deserves to be with Martell. Like, she even said things in the interview such as, but that's just men. That's a man. And she even said things such as, I don't really know if I aspire to be married because Black men cheat. Says the side chick. Like girl, what? What are you talking about? But you want somebody to grow old with. So then I was like, I kind of feel bad for you in a way, because it sounds like you want companionship, but the standards in which you require for yourself are down here. You know you don't deserve what a wife deserves, which is why you're saying you don't know if you aspire to marriage, but you're okay with laying with someone else's husband for a check. Okay? And that's kind of what I was getting in the interview. When she says that she wasn't really pressed on Martell like that, initially, I believe her. I believe she knew what it was. And like I'm saying, I'm jumping all over the place because the interview was all over the place. So let me go ahead and pull up my picture. Let's start with the look. Beautiful girl. Beautiful girl. Okay. Y'all know usually when I get ready to say beautiful girl, it's something shady coming next. But when it comes to looks, I don't have anything really shady to say. I done already told y'all that she had the side chick nails. She had the long nails. She had the V French tip. And I'm not saying that those are horrible nails. I'm just saying you was given the side chick nails. The pointed open toe heels. They was cute. Okay, I'd wear those, but you was definitely giving side chick heels. Then you came in the sexy, conservative-esque left, right, swishing your hips dress. I was like, if I was a side chick and I had an interview, this is probably something I would wear. And it ain't nothing wrong with that. That's probably something I would wear. Give them classy, but a little bit sexy, because you want the people to be like, I'm not some wild woman. I just ended up in this situation. Okay. So let's get into the notes. Let me open up my notes. So Tasha starts out the interview, and in my opinion, yes, Naturally Mar says rainbow outfit. That's what I mean by side chick outfit, okay? You know that's what I mean. You know, whenever you and your girls getting ready to go out, and you like, hold on, I need an outfit real quick, but I'm only trying to spend about $30. And then you run into your nearest Rambo, La Patricia, used to be Agassi too. Them little bitty stores like that. City Trends. Yes, Sam J, you know, with the plastic hangers and you popping the tag with the two-piece. That's what she was giving, okay? I'm not mad at it. She's cute though. She's cute. I will say that. Aesthetically, I'm not talking about the fashions. I'm not talking about intelligence. Her and Mel are both beautiful, petite, small-looking women. So I see why Martell went for her. I feel like she has the flair that he will want in someone that's not his wife, which is why, even more so after seeing this interview, I don't think they'll ever be together like that. I've said in my reviews for Love and Marriage Huntsville, like, well, at this point, Martell, just go be with her. Like we'd rather you just go be with her. I've said that before. But now that I've seen this, I'm like, he don't really want her like that. And she don't really want him like that either. I don't think she does. I'm going to explain to y'all why I think that. Okay. So y'all distracting me talking about all the stores. 1 second. Y'all know what we have to do. J-Dub told me I have to put y'all on pause. And y'all know why. Because y'all have to do me a favor. Y'all came in here pretty quick, so I'm sure y'all wanted to talk about the video. So go ahead and do me a favor and like this video. All right. So, y'all, the interview starts out, and in my notes, I said that Tasha starts out hyping Arionne up. And what I mean by that is she was trying to make her feel comfortable. Her and Arionne are both sitting down. She's like, yeah, this is your first interview in what, 3-4 years? And she says, yep, this is my first interview, first official interview. Because y'all know Arionne good for running down to Instagram and acting like she gonna spill a little bit of tea, but don't really spill no tea, but then be like, use my code linebacker for 30% off. She didn't do that, right? So this is the first official interview. Tasha then hypes her up by saying, so, over the entire 3 seasons, the show has been built off of you. And Arionne says, every single show, y'all don't understand. I'm sitting here with my hand on my knee like Arionne. Every single show, every single episode has been about me. Girl, you telling me that after 3 seasons, if you had a case, you ain't lawyered up yet? You haven't been ready to take them to court for a check? Because I would. But I don't think you have a case. So yes, initially, straight off the bat, she wants Tasha to understand. She wants us to understand. And this is a quote that she says on and off throughout the entire interview. She says, nobody chases a married man. Nobody wants a married man. And Tasha, I respect you for this. Tasha tells her, well, not always. Okay. And when you're young and pretty like you don't have to chase a married man. I feel like Arionne kept contradicting herself. And I'm like, girl. So at first she starts out saying, okay, you're right. But I have to say, 20-year-old Arionne didn't respect marriages. 30-year-old Arionne knows that I was wrong for the part that I played. And that as Black women, y'all, when she said as Black women, I about fell back on my damn couch. I almost sunk into the damn cushion. Because I'm like, okay, you all over Instagram, out in other people's relationships, and a whole baby later, multiple pregnancies, and you want to sit here and tell us as Black women. Wrong road. This ain't giving what you thought it was gonna give, Arionne. I don't think this is giving what you thought it was gonna give. I thought you was gonna take responsibility right off the bat. But when you said as Black women, I was just like, girl, okay. So as Black women, she feels like Black women should be respected, marriages should be respected, and she knows now that she's 30 years old that the thing she did when she was 20 was wrong. So Tasha then asked her, how did y'all meet? Because you were 20 when you met him, right? Keep in mind, Arionne has certain points. I know she has a team that she's talked to before she's gone into this interview, because every time Tasha asks a question, it circles back to one of her 3 points. Number one was that, 20-year-old and 30-year-old Arionne is different. Number 2 was that she didn't chase a married man. And number 3 was that she wasn't the ruin of their relationship. Those are the 3 main points, besides the point that she wants us to believe she's smart. Okay, so 4. Every time Tasha asks her a question, it goes back to that. So Tasha ends up asking her, well, how did y'all meet? Because you were 20 years old when you met him, right? She says, well, I was 24. That's where I'm going to call you out right there, okay? You probably were 24. But why is it when you want to demonstrate some sort of growth, you try to create a stark contrast between who you were at 20, which is what you said, versus who you are at 30, your 20s and your 30s. But then whenever she wants to ask you when y'all met, you were 24. Now that you are 30, a year older than in your 20s, it's a completely different ballgame. So I'm just like, girl, I see through the lines. And I seen through the lines very early on because not only do I have a knack for analyzing people, but it's more so what you say. And she was using certain statements, nobody chases a married man, to avoid blame. 20-year-old Arionne, as Black women. And I guess you thought that as the majority of Black women watching you, I guess you thought that we could relate to that. Yeah, you're right. As Black women, that is disrespectful as hell. 7 years later, 3 pregnancies later, a baby later, an interview here, an interview there later. Arionne, let me say this, okay? I don't want to go bad. I don't want to go bad on this girl and talk mad shit about her. I don't want to do that. But I gotta call a thing when it comes to this interview because you came on TV. Well, my TV, because I put YouTube on my TV. And you wanted us to hear what you had to say. This is a YouTube channel where I give y'all my thoughts and opinions, and I have to tell y'all what I think about what she had to say. And that's that. Arionne, I hope you get the help that you need. But now that you are 30 years old, you've had 30 years of living in which I don't think is going to change anytime soon or ever, quite frankly. By the end of this interview, I was like, she's not going to change. She does know right from wrong. She don't want to know right from wrong. And the way that she has been raised, it seems like, is to believe that when men do effed up things, you take it to the chin, and that's just a part of the game. That's just how the game go. Literally, that's the entire vibe I was getting from her. That's just how the game go. And it's unfortunate that you've been willing to accept that for yourself, which is why you can't be sorry for what you did to Mel, because you truly and honestly believe that that's just how the game go. And that's why Martell chose you. Tragic. So, how Martell and Arionne met. So she said she was 24 years old when they met. They met at her best friend's cousin's barbecue in Huntsville. She also says that she isn't from Huntsville. So she didn't really even know anybody there. This is another time where I'm going to call her out on her bull, right? When it came to Arionne trying to prove that she was some innocent young girl, she wasn't a homewrecker, she mentioned the fact that she was in one relationship with one man in college for 5 years, right? So when it came to proving your innocence or your naivety when it comes to Martell, you was in a relationship for 5 entire years. When it comes to you not knowing whether or not he was a married man at the barbecue, you weren't from Huntsville. Y'all tell me in the comment box, if you live in a city for 5 years, you may not be from that city, but you are definitely not new to the city. You know the neighborhoods. You're not just popping up at barbecues. And mind you, you went to college in the city where your best friend's cousin lives. You've probably been there multiple times. You ain't new to this, okay? You're not new to this. So I'm like, you say statements when you think they work in your favor, but yet those same statements don't make sense when it comes to things that you should know better about. You should know more about. And it was just hilarious to me because she kept trying to make a stark difference from whenever you 20 and you 30. And I'm sitting here at 27. And I'm thinking about the stuff that she did when she was 20. And I would have known not to do that shit when I was 18, 17, 18. So I really hate whenever people do that because I can sit here and talk to y'all about the bullshit. We ain't even the same age. I'm like, Arionne, Stop it right now. So Martell's cousin was the one who actually set up the entire interaction between Arionne and Martell. So Martell has a female cousin, supposedly. And the way that Arionne really explained this interaction was extremely weird to me. She didn't want to dig deep into who said what, who exchanged numbers first. And it was almost like a business dealing, which is why I feel like she probably really wasn't pressed on that man that much in the beginning. And her logic, take it to the chin, that's just how the game go. You knew this man was married. You didn't know the status of his marriage. You didn't know if he was in a happy marriage. But in my opinion, you knew this man was married at the barbecue. You saw him as a quick trick. You saw him as a quick money grab. And you knew that he had something to lose. Y'all know how whenever men cheat, I'm saying men cheat, but majority of the time I hear it, it's usually when men cheat is like never messing around with somebody who doesn't have anything to lose. She knows the game. She knew Martell had something to lose. She knew he was going to provide a bag for whatever he was wanting from her. So that's why I'm like, this definitely was some sort of arrangement that Martell's cousin put together. And it also tells me that he ain't new to this. Him and his cousin have done this before. They've gone to different places. They've seeked women out who he probably wants to sleep with, and they've gone from there. I see a bunch of y'all using my favorite emoji in the chat, so let me go ahead and pull it up. You didn't know if he was married. You're not from Huntsville, but you've been there for 5 years, and you telling me didn't nobody at the barbecue know if he was married? Girl, if you would have just told us that you wanted a bag from him and you knew he had that, just say that. Just say that. Just don't lie to my face. Just say that. So she says neither her or her best friend knew that he was married. So then she says one thing led to another. And when she said one thing led to another, I was like, if that ain't side chick terminology, every time somebody do something wrong, it's always one thing led to another. That's it. One thing led to another. That was it. You didn't ask no questions. For them to be at the status of which they were in Huntsville, nobody was telling you that's Martell Holt. And I know that this was before the show, but regardless of the show, they still had good standing in Huntsville. They were self-made millionaires in the county that they lived. Okay, they had went to college there for years. And at that point, I think they had already had 2 kids. Nobody was telling you, don't you know that's Martell Holt? Or you didn't want to hear it. I would respect you more if you just said you didn't want to hear it. So then she said that the same day at the barbecue, he gets her phone number from the cousin. He goes outside to the car. He sends her a text message and he said, come outside and talk to me. And I was just disgusted because I believe this part. I believe she was telling her truth when it comes to this part. Just the way that she reenacts or repeats some of the things that Martell says, I'm like, he absolutely said that because he speaks in a way in which he thinks men are deserving of everything that women have to offer them. Don't matter if you're their wives or not. So Martell felt so grand of himself to leave the barbecue, text this young girl he really don't even know like that, and say, come outside and talk to me. And she did. So they sat in the car, talked for hours, and Tasha's asking her, why you? Why do you think it was you? And she says, well, first of all, I'm very smart. 2-parent household. We're going to get to that. She said, I'm very smart. I've always been cream of the crop. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So much of this conversation was laced in bird logic and bird terminology that I really did feel bad for this girl because I know she believes what she's saying. And it's crazy to me that you can sit there and talk to Tasha K and say that you have always been cream of the crop, and yet you think that the best of what you deserve is to be his side chick. What? That's sad. So now, y'all, Tasha also asked, how long was y'all's relationship before it became sexual? She says that it was about 8 or 9 months. She said the night that they met, he thought that he was actually going to take her to a hotel. So when it came to the barbecue, he thought he was going to take her to the hotel the same night. Now, for one, that disgusts me. That disgusts me big time. I'm disgusted in my Erica Dixon voice. I am disgusted. You out here, Martell, meeting women and arranging sex the same night, and you have a wife at home. I'm disgusted. This ain't even, and this is another reason why I have to say I really don't feel like she was that pressed on him in the beginning. Okay? I still don't think that she ever in her mind wanted to be his main chick. She never did. This interview, before I actually heard her speak out, I always thought that she was one of those side chicks that had every intention on becoming a main chick. But after seeing this interview, like I'm telling y'all, she never thought she was deserving of any type of main chick role. So I don't think that was ever going to happen. But that is just insane to me. So she says within the first 8 or 9 months, she had no clue that he had a wife. So Tasha says, when did you find out about the wife? And she says, within those 9 months. Well, nada. You found out about the wife within the 9 months, but when? And that's another time where I'm like, damn, Tasha, you was asking them good questions, but Tasha, I need you to put the foot on the gas when it comes to when did you find out about the wife exactly? Because I know good and well we would have caught her in a lie if she had further explained exactly when you found out. You found out within the 8 or 9 months. So what you're telling us is your connection was so strong with him, is what she told us. The conversation was really good. And they had sex even after she found out he had a wife. So the conversation is what kept her there, like I just told y'all. She said, I was just hearing things here and there. I asked him about it, and he admitted to it. And we just went on from there. You lying. Okay? You're lying about the timeline. Maybe the conversation did go down like that. You knew this man was married early on. You asked him. He told you because he expected you to play your position, which you were all for. And that's why it was not some huge ordeal that he was a married man, because you know your position and you know what you require for yourself, which is not any type of respectfully. So she said, again, like I told y'all, he admitted it and that was it. Y'all, hot second, let me open up this door for my dog. While I open up the door for him, like the video, okay? Like the video. Give me 10 seconds. Okay, I am back. I hope y'all didn't hear me moving around too much. Now, yes, I agree with this comment right here from Nola K. Nola K says she found out at the barbecue. She knew at the barbecue. And I feel like that's part of the reason why you were interested in even starting anything with him, was because you knew he had something to lose. Absolutely. Okay, so next, they have conversations about whether or not Martell had ever planned on leaving Mel. He never initially planned on leaving Mel, and she says that she didn't pressure him. Another bird attribute, okay? It's always when we're on TV, and anytime I said on TV, when we're watching TV, anytime I see a woman think that it's a flex to relieve a man of any type of pressure to make a decision. I'm like, girl, why do you think that's a flex? Like what show was it? I think it was Ready to Love. It's women who get on the show and they get questions like, hey, when do you want to get married? Ideally, no woman wants to waste her time in a relationship, okay? You can have the desire to not waste your time without showing bird attributes. But no, instead of saying, I'd like to be married within the next 4 years, 2 years, 5 years, birds like to do this because they want to make sure a man's not comfortable. Birds like to say, I ain't gonna put no pressure on a man. When it happened, it happened. And then what? A year in, 2 years in, you pressed. So I'm like, girl, okay. So she lets us know she never put any pressure on him to leave Mel. Then again, she says no woman deserves to be cheated on, but he will call her and he would complain about Mel. So now that you feel no woman deserves to be cheated on, why don't your actions match that? And I can tell y'all her actions didn't match that because she couldn't accept responsibility for what part she played. She claimed she did, but I don't think so. I don't think she viewed Mel and Martells. One second. I don't think she viewed Mel and Martell's marriage as an actual marriage. I think she thought the cookie was already crumbled, and when she came in, I think she felt like she held equal amount of weight as Mel. I think, whenever Mel says Martell wanted his cake and to eat it too, she literally thought that she was the eat it too. She thought that this was going to be some type of business dealing. You know how some people have marriages and then outside the marriage, you got Mr. Charlie or Miss Darlene or somebody like that who they keep on the side. She thought that this was what it was going to be. She just wanted to live comfortable. So now she says, let's go ahead and talk about T. Thank you, T. T says she said that it was already destroyed. She did say that. So Arionne, she says, let's go ahead and get into the 3-part reunion special. So this is the first part where I'm like, girl, you are hella confusing. I keep saying it's the first part, but this is probably the biggest part where I'm like, this is a blatant lie. And you basically said the exact same thing Mel said. So in the 3-part special, she talks about Love and Marriage Huntsville, and she basically says the way that Mel found out about her was a lie. So what we know from watching the show is Mel claims that one day she got a phone call from Martell's mistress. Martell's mistress said, put Martell on the effing phone. Now, Arionne was like, they kept trying to portray me for somebody who I wasn't. She said, they kept trying to portray me for somebody that I wasn't, some big wild girl, this, that, and the third. And she says, the story that Mel and Martell told on how we met is a lie. It didn't go down like that. So I'm like, ooh, I'm sitting here like, damn, Martell and Mel, they came up with a story. They came up with a lie as to how y'all met. No, or as to how she found out about you. She tells the same story verbatim. So yes, it's facts. Mel found out about you because you called Martell's phone. Okay, you hung up, you called back, just as Mel said. The only difference is she didn't say effing phone. She said, can you put Martell on the phone? So like people say, it's the difference between disrespectful cheating and respectful cheating. I guess she was like, I was keeping it respectful. Hi, will you please put Martell on the phone? Girl, bye. Okay, bye. So next, y'all, this is the part where I said I wish Tasha would have put her foot on the gas. I'm gonna repeat it one more time because I already explained it to y'all. She says there was another time that her and Mel had talked on the phone. She called Mel on the phone to find out if Mel had keyed one of her guy friend's car who she was messing with. So I'm like, what? Y'all let me know in the comments. Was it just me who caught that? But it sounded like Arionne was trying to say that Mel was messing around with a guy that she knew and his car was keyed. And I'm like, okay, so first y'all saying that Mel is messing around or potentially getting head from a lawyer. Now Arionne is telling us that Mel may have had a relation with somebody who she knew. So are you saying the marriage was open? What are you saying? Y'all tell me in the comments if I was the only one who understood that part. Next, Tasha K goes into asking Arionne the reasons why she was dating Martell. Was it money? Did he help you a lot? And she smiles. He did help me a lot. Mind y'all, I didn't know Arionne already had one kid. Arionne already had a daughter, which she had in college or right after college or something of that sort. So I'm sure she was ready to secure the damn bag. I'm sure she was. Now next, Tasha K. This is something that the public didn't really know came out. Tasha K ends up asking Arionne, how many times were you pregnant by Martell? And this is where I feel like she was tiptoeing around the conversation. Tasha K says, how many times were you pregnant by Martell? She says, twice. Tasha K says, who paid for the termination? And Arionne lets us know that one time it was a termination. The other time it was a miscarriage. And I'm like, okay, so if you had a termination, a miscarriage, and now you have one living, breathing child, you were pregnant by him 3 times. And I'm like, you told Tasha K too. You were pregnant by him 3 times. But y'all, it's all, she probably didn't know. Okay, based on her changing the definition of 2-parent household, she probably didn't even know exactly how many times to say that she was pregnant by him. Let me read this comment by Golden Baby in regards to the car keying that I was asking y'all about. So Golden Baby says, I think she said that she called Mel to find out if she keyed her friend's car because she knows sometimes when people get mad, they take it out on anyone, something like that. Okay, thank you so much, Golden Baby. That makes perfect sense. Okay. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So the second time that Arionne was pregnant and she terminated the child, Mel was actually pregnant with baby number 3. So they were pregnant at the same time or just about the same time, not once, but twice. Because then she talks about how Mel also terminated one of her pregnancies. So in this situation, I'm looking like, ugh, Martell. Ugh, this shit irks my soul. You have a wife and you're out here impregnating other women. You're having unprotected intercourse with other women and you are terminating pregnancies left and right. And all you're doing is wreaking havoc and causing destruction. Martell, you need some help. You do. Thank you so much, Tasha, for the super sticker. I'm like, what? Yes. Betty says, wow, he could have 8 kids. He could have 8 kids. And I'm like, what is going on? Ramel said he needs to get snipped. And ain't nothing to cut up. Snip. You need to do something because he's irresponsible. He's irresponsible. And I can absolutely see why Mel looks at him in disgust. I can see why Mel has so much resentment towards this man. I would be disgusted. So not only did you change your family dynamic, but just based off the simple fact, based on Arionne having another child and her and Mel having terminations back to back, we know that you're out here having unprotected sex with different people. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. You need some help, okay? Mel was a wife, #team wife. She was undeserving of all of this. Arionne is a naive bird, and her standards of living are not at the point in which they need to be. But Martell is the source of all of this, okay? So then, this is another bird attribute. Another time, Martell says that he wasn't going to choose between Mel and Arionne. Arionne got excited to tell Tasha K. Well, she had a choice. And Tasha K, this is where I was like, yes. Tasha K says, well, no, both of you had a choice, right? And then Arionne says, well, yeah, we both did. No, yeah, you both had a choice. You both had a choice to decide whether you wanted to be with this man and accept half of him. Mel was the only one who decided to dip. But the funny part of it all is that Martell does not want Arionne as it is just her. He always wanted Mel the entire time. He wanted Arionne on the side as a dessert, as some coleslaw. Okay? That's why I thought that it was insane that when we got to the reunion and Carlos King started talking about, she seems to be the entire restaurant for you. She seems to be breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert. No, she doesn't. Because he's messed around with other people besides Arionne. He never cheated on his wife because he found companionship in someone who he saw as a soulmate. He never did. So let's throw that storyline out the window. Arionne basically confirms it for us that that wasn't the case for her either. They started off as a weekend jump off, as somebody said in the comments. And she stayed for the long haul because he was supplying her financially. And he was getting whatever he needed, the head or whatever it was he needed. So we want to know why they aren't together. She's talking to Tasha K about why they're not together. And she says, well, me and Martell can't be together because we're damaged. And they're damaged because they can't separate, or she says she can't separate reality TV versus the Martell Holt that she's getting in real life. I believe that. And I believe that to be true for her. That's why y'all aren't together. For him, you were never going to be his main. So y'all will never be together. Even if we see y'all in H&M shopping together, y'all were never going to be together. So now they talked about the TV show. She talked about remembering whenever they picked up the TV show, she thought that the show was supposed to be about real estate. And when the show first started, allegedly, based on what Arionne is saying, Mel and Martell were already supposed to be getting a divorce on the brinks of the show being recorded. Production, based on Arionne's word, told them to just wait to get a divorce. Don't get one yet, just wait, work it out so we can film and get this show up off the ground. So she was saying that a lot of the time she didn't really know what he was even saying on this show. She didn't know what was being discussed on this show because she was in nursing school. And for anybody who has gone to nursing school, you can't even think for yourself, which probably is true. But just based on her intelligence level, I was like, baby, you didn't finish. You didn't finish nursing school. You didn't finish nursing school. She couldn't even remember the rotations that she was in. She says, I was just so busy. I was in class, clinical, and I can't remember the third thing. I was in lab. That was her attempt at trying to make it seem like she was smarter than what she was, because y'all remember when it was time for the reunion, Martell had to tell Mel, no, she's just as smart as you. You're not going to disrespect her because she got her degree from the same alma mater you did. It don't matter. C's get degrees, okay? That's what we used to say in college all the time. You don't want to do that paper? C's get degrees, okay? But C's can't make it out of nursing school. So I don't care if she graduated with the piece of paper. She didn't finish. And you can't compare the things that Mel has done versus the things that Arionne has done. So I'm just like, come on. Yes, Tia says she has nothing to show for her degree. And it's crazy that you complain about how the show has been built off of your likeness. But my thing is, you wouldn't be half as successful if it wasn't for your dealings with this married man, not your dealings or not your accomplishments that you had in college. You keep wanting to flex to us that you went to college. You keep wanting to flex to us that you were in nursing school. But the reason why we know you today, the reason why your boutique is successful is all because you messed with a married man. And then the other thing is, like, you claim that what you got in return for your name being used hasn't been worth it. Obviously, because if not, you would have took your ass back to nursing school. Obviously, these people using your name in your likeness is worth the return. And that's why you continue to deal with Martell, knowing that you would never get a main spot. So let's be real. Let me see. Honeybee, she says, Necey, do you think Martell manipulated her since he was about 10 years older than her? She was 24 at the time, right? No, I don't think he did. I don't think he did. I 100% think that at 24 years old, Arionne had already been in a 5-year relationship. Arionne already had a child, and she had a degree, like she likes to tell us, C's get degrees. You know how the game goes. You were raised differently. You were raised not to want more for yourself, and you have a level of self-respect that is down to the damn ground. So when you met Martell, it was probably some sort of arrangement, and you knew that from jump. You knew that when he called you out to the car and said, come out here and talk to me for 5 minutes, and you did. You knew when you came out to the car and he offered to take you to the hotel room the exact same night, you knew what the relationship was going to entail. So I don't think he had to do very much to manipulate her at all. I think it was an agreement. I think she just wants us to believe that she was just some innocent girl that just ended up in this situation because she's mad at Martell. And I think she's doing this interview because she's mad at Martell. So next, y'all, then they start asking about her family. How does your family feel about you being in all this mess? And she says her family's upset because they're seeing 2 different things as well. They're seeing Martell on TV versus the Martell that they know. And when she said that, I was like, your family's upset with Martell? What? Why isn't your family upset with the fact that you were with a married man? Apple don't fall too far from the tree. Their requirements must not be that high either. Okay. So then she says, because, I understand as well because I came from a 2-parent household. And Tasha was like, oh, okay. So you came from a 2-parent household. Your mother and father were in the same home and you grew up, both of them in the same home. She says, no, 2-parent household. 2-parent household. Girl, when did the definition of 2-parent household change? She was saying she had 2 households with 1 parent in one parent in another. And then she turned around and said, no, my dad's house was a 2-parent household until he got divorced. So no, the definition of 2-parent household has not changed. And I guess it's different based on Arionne Curry. But you got that degree though. C's get degrees, okay? C's get degrees, okay? University of YouTube would have taught you that a 2-parent household is not your mama in one house and your daddy in another house. Khan Academy would have taught you that. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So then they talk about the goals for the relationship. I've talked to y'all about this. Beat a damn horse. She never had any goals for their relationship. She never thought that he would leave. She makes that clear to us. And in my mind, she stresses that in a way to where she wants us to believe that she's not a fool. She was never foolish enough to think that she would be his wife. But even more so, you don't look foolish because you accepted it for what it was. You look foolish because you were okay. like what? I would much rather prefer if you were going to be this man's side piece that y'all fell into some crazy love affair and y'all were soulmates and he had to leave his wife and turn around and leave you. Something like Scandal, something like Olivia Pope and Fitz. I would have listened to that and maybe believed that if you would have came with that, but you actually look worse by trying to make it seem like I could never get played. I never thought I was going to be a man. Bird behavior. Okay. Bird attributes. Tragic. So now, y'all, another thing they ask is how long is the longest amount of time that you and Martell have actually stayed together? She said that the longest they actually stayed together was when he visited her in Ohio for 4 days. Tasha K was shocked by that, but I'm not really shocked by that. Martell was probably lying about where he was. Okay. So now, y'all, they talk about the picture of the Scott brothers. That's the title of my video. Arionne Curry talks about Mel. She talks about the Scott brothers. So they end up asking, what was Maurice doing? And she says he had a linebacker. And they're like, so what do you mean? Like, what do you mean by a linebacker? What's the definition of a linebacker? And she says basically just a big woman with broad shoulders. And y'all, I couldn't help but think when she said that, I was like, she talking about Kiowa? No shade to Kiowa, but that's like the type of woman that she described, like a bigger woman. So I'm not shocked. Maurice probably does have a type. He probably changed his type whenever he lost a lot of weight and went and grabbed Kimmy hourglass shaped ass. He definitely did that. And when I say hourglass shaped ass, that's a good thing. Maurice probably changed his type when he lost all that weight. So I'm not shocked. And like I said in my review, I also feel like, Arionne, if you're going to come and really try to speak on people's relationships and make other people seem just as bad as Martell, I need you to come with something more recent than before Maurice was married. Before he was married. I don't care that they were engaged. I know he was wrong for that. But as much tea as you act like you have to spill, I need you to come with something a little bit more recent than that. So at the time, she said she doesn't know what the wives look like. It was Martell, Maurice, Marceau, and a friend named Earl in an Airbnb. So she explains to Tasha K how she's talking to Martell, and she's like, ugh, like these are the type of women they mess with. What do their wives look like? And I couldn't get over the fact that you were okay being in that home full of married men all cheating on their wives. What makes you think that's okay? It's sad. It's sad. You need some counseling just as Martell does. So then she starts talking about the producers. Arionne has had an issue with On Network. Apparently she got actual beef with Oprah. I'm like, girl, bye. So she says the producers had asked her to film in reference to the linebacker comment because they didn't want her to spill all the tea on social media. Then she talks about another time that they asked her to film. And keep in mind, y'all, Arionne, yes, honeybee, she felt at home. Keep in mind, y'all, Mel will not film if Arionne films. That's what everybody's been saying. When we interviewed Mel, she told us that On Network did not support women like Arionne. So for that reason, they would not film her. That's what she told us. So Arionne says that the producers had reached out to her asking her to film. She actually did film a scene. She says, I actually did film a scene. Y'all, the scene she was talking about was whenever Martell was sitting on the phone asking her to take a damn DNA test. Do y'all consider that filming a scene? Did they cut you a check? No. They didn't even show us your likeness, Arionne. They didn't show us your face. They didn't do anything special, really. It was just a regular phone call. And just as, I forgot who said it earlier. Somebody said it earlier. But that's probably the closest that they could get to your likeness by using your voice and using your name on the screen. That's it. You didn't film a scene in my book. But just the way she said that, I know that she probably wants to film so bad. She wants to be on the show so bad. But then it's like at the same time, I don't know if I want to be on the show. You want to control your narrative, but then you don't know if you want to be on the show. Don't do it. Don't do it. Wrong road. Don't do it. I used to think before all of this, really all before this, there go my cousin in the chat. Hey girl. I used to think before all of this that she was like a respectful, like mistress. I did. But once she explained to us the terms of their relationship, I was like, she's a straight up side chick. Now I feel like a mistress could move on with Martell and potentially have a show. Have a little family YouTube channel if you must. Find a little network like Zeus to hop on. I pay my little $5 a month and see what drama y'all get into. But now that I know that you're just a side piece, and now that I know that this interview didn't really give what it was supposed to give, and you sitting here looking crazy, take my advice, sis. Don't do it. Don't come up on TV. Don't do no more damn interviews. Continue to get whatever check you need to get from Martell, but don't do it. Because we're going to be on YouTube dragging you every week. Don't do it. So let's move on. She also talks about, again, Martell was pursuing her. Martell was pursuing her. She didn't really break up a happy home. And that's where I'm like, you start out the first part of the interview saying that no woman, especially as a Black woman, deserves to be cheated on. Then towards the end of the interview, you put the blame on Martell because he was pursuing you. So because he was pursuing you, it had to be something there that you literally just couldn't pass up, and there was a check. So it's like, you still look just as bad as him. She doesn't think that she broke up a happy home. And then Tasha says, what is it that you would like to say to the camera? What do you want? What message do you want to send? She says, I would like OWN Network to stop using my likeness. She says, I also used to look up to Oprah as a little girl, and now I'm just very disappointed to see the way that I've been depicted on screen. Girl, Oprah is not pressed on you, Arionne. Oprah don't even get the little insiders that we be talking about whenever we say coleslaw. Okay, Oprah don't even know who the Side Chick of the Year award is for. She don't know who nominated. She's not thinking about you. Last I checked, Discovery Network owns a huge portion of OWN Network. Oprah? C's get degrees, y'all. So now, y'all, Arionne is not willing to make peace with Mel. This is another part, okay? I see a bunch of y'all are new. Hey, Living, what's up? A bunch of y'all are new. Do me a favor, okay? Like the video and subscribe, because we've been talking for a full hour. So let me take a sip of water and then we're going to continue. But for now, like the video. Okay, so at the beginning of the video, y'all, I told y'all that it was a point in the interview where I was hoping that Tasha K put her foot on the gas, but she didn't. And I forgot what it was. It was this part right here. It was whenever Tasha K was like, I think we can get some sort of reconciliation. I think we need to call Mel on the phone and we need to solve this right now. So Tasha gets out her phone and she's like, I'm going to call Mel. Let's call Mel. Y'all. Arionne started shaking in her muffin boots. Arionne broke out that phone. She was texting Martell so quick. Like, hey, contact Mel. Tell her not to answer the phone. She was shaking in her boots. But no, you talk in so much confidence. Like, no, I didn't ruin the marriage. No, she don't deserve an apology. You talk with so much confidence. Like, that's just how the game go. But as soon as you knew she was calling Mel line, and your ass was about to get smooth cussed out because Mel is a Scorpio, you start shaking in your boots. I was like, no, girl, you sat here for a whole hour. You have impersonated Mel in her voice. You've given information about Mel, such as her having an abortion, supposedly. You've also given information about thinking that she keyed the car, and so on and so forth. But now that you have the chance to confront her and you say that y'all have talked for hours before, she said there was a moment where y'all talked for 2 hours, you shaking in your boots. Like, what? So then Tasha is like, you know what? I don't even have Mel's phone number. It's in an old phone. Tasha, go get that old phone. Call Mel on the phone right now. But I think even Tasha knew that she would have got smooth cussed out on the phone by Mel if she called Mel. Probably would have got smooth cussed out by Arionne if Mel had cussed Arionne out. So Tasha was like, nah, this can't be good. Let me end this. Let me act like I don't got her number. And I'm sure that's what she did. Tia says, do you think Martell was behind the interview because she grabbed the phone quick? Absolutely. I think that her and Martell had an agenda before she came on the show. And Arionne isn't really, she doesn't have any likeness, let's be real. So she probably worked with people who work with Martell on the show, and they told her, these are your 4 points that you need to make on the show. And that's what she came on there and did. So I definitely think she was texting Martell and she was shaking in her MF and boots whenever she thought that Mel was gonna hop on the phone. Baby, Team Scorpio. Hey, I had to call that out. So now, Tasha, do you want to be married? She says, I definitely want to grow old with somebody, but no, I don't aspire to be married because based on the statistics of Black men cheating, she don't know if she want to be married. Because Black men cheat with underconfident women who accept less, like you. So you know that there are other women like you out there willing to do what you do, willing to do what you do for nothing. And for that reason, you don't want to be married. And that's a shame that you think that that's how the game goes. Hashtag team wife. Hashtag team wife, okay? Now, then she starts talking about Mel. Again, after you were shaking in your boots about thinking that Mel was going to call or Mel was going to answer the phone, you shaking in your boots. You decide to tell us that Mel cheated with their attorney. Mel allegedly at the reunion, y'all. Jada, shut up. Mel, this is a conversation at the reunion, okay? Martell, Carlos, and Mel were having a discussion about whether or not Mel had stepped outside of their marriage. And this is where Mel says she don't remember if she had sex with somebody or if she just received head. Now, the person who they were talking about was allegedly, based on what Arionne's saying, was allegedly Mel and Martell's attorney who had a fiance. Don't forget that part. Arionne had to let us know, just like Martell had to let us know, that the man that Mel was cheating with was in a relationship. And that was their half-ass way of making it seem like Mel was just as bad as Arionne. I don't care what y'all say. And this is another time where I'm like, shout out to you, Tasha K. Tasha K said, but do you think she was wrong for cheating? I'm not mad at her for cheating. When Tasha K said, I ain't mad at Mel for cheating, because at that point you had already been with the man for like 5 years, maybe. You've been with him for 7 years at this point, on and off. Are we really going to try to pin Mel to the ground for doing, sis, I ain't mad at you. And Arionne doesn't answer the question about whether or not she thinks that Mel is wrong or right. However, she does say that Martell was complaining to her on the phone about Mel. And she says, but that's men. That's just men. Bird attribute. Bird attribute. For you to think that that's just men. He can call his side piece on the phone, who he's been smashing for years, impregnated several times, and complain about his wife. But that's just men. He's been cheating on his wife, but the minute his wife does something, that's just men. That's sad that you think that, in my Bella Noche voice. So then she talks about the reunion one more time. Whenever the reunion was going on, Martell said that during the pandemic, he was at the gym. His gym was open. His gym was code word, based on my understanding, for some sort of side chick. Arionne then tells us, like a dummy, that she wasn't the gym. So, yes, Mel was 100% right when she let us know that Arionne wasn't the only woman that he was cheating on her with. Just like when Carlos tried to make it seem like she was a whole grocery, if that's the case, then why was he still cheating on her with multiple women? Cheating on Mel, because you can't cheat on a side piece. And I don't think that this interview made her look any more like a mistress than it did a side piece. I think she still looks like coleslaw. She still looked like a side piece. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have. So They said, what do you want to do? What things do you want to announce as you get ready to leave? She said that she's coming out with a book, but she doesn't want to release the name of the book because she don't want Mel to turn it into a song. They said, when are you releasing it? And she hit us like Sheree. Spring, summer, springtime. Springtime. She's coming out with the book Springtime. She sounded just like Sheree Whitfield from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, before she leaves, they end up talking about Mel again. Tasha tries to bait her here. Tasha says, Mel just seems like she's still mad. She's still real mad. And that's where Arionne says, well, wouldn't you be mad too? And she says, well, I've met with Mel in person a few times. We've talked for 2 hours one time. We sat and talked at my best friend's mom's house. Real funny. Is this the same best friend who you went to the cousin barbecue and you met Martells at the barbecue, but you don't really know Huntsville like that? Bet. So you met at the best friend's mom's house to have a conversation with Mel. Y'all sat there and talked for 2 hours. And before she left, she said, you call me if you need anything. And that's where Tasha says, well, did you tell her that you were going to stop messing with Martells? Good question. Because it seemed to me like y'all were only at a place of peace if y'all had both found a way to put some sort of blame on Martells. And I thought that that's probably what they did when Mel got ready to leave the house, right? And she says, no, I didn't tell her that I would stop messing with Martells. And Tasha, great follow-up question. Well, is that what she thought was going to happen? And she says, I don't know what she thought was going to happen. Yes, that's what she thought. Okay, Arionne, yes, that's what she thought. You are letting us know that you and Mel had to sit down 2-hour conversation to try to relieve yourself from some sort of blame, to try to make it seem like Mel was cool with her husband cheating. No, Mel probably was never cool with her husband cheating. However, it was probably very early on in the relationship where she thought you was a weekend hit, dump, pass, move on from that. And she thought that her relationship had the chance to be saved. So that's probably why she left there. Like, you know what? Woman to woman, I'm going to talk to my man about this and move on. And that's probably what she thought. But you try to make us think that Mel was perfectly fine with what you had going on. You trifling as hell, okay? Anybody should be able to see that, even a bird. So next, okay? She says she just wants everybody to stop speaking on her. She's tired of people bringing up her likeness. Okay. And then Tasha asked her a really good question. Would you ever marry Martells? And she says, he needs counseling. And Tasha says, well, that's not a no. And she says, well, Tasha, that's not a yes. You both need counseling. Okay. You both need counseling. Honestly extremely worried. I'm extremely worried for the way that this little boy gonna be brought up. I really am. Okay, I don't have any kids. I don't. So I'm not judging anyone's parenting skills because some men can be much better parents than they are husbands. But if Arionne grew up thinking that this is just part of the game, take one to the chin, men cheat, I'm going to be a side piece to get what I need to get to survive. People who grow up thinking that survival is the end all be all, get it by any means necessary, F a wife. I'm concerned. I really am concerned. And this just said a lot about what Arionne thinks about herself more than anything. So if On Network asks you to come on the show, don't do it, Arionne. Don't do it. I do not want to talk about you every week, Arionne. I have already been asking in my Love and Marriage Huntsville reviews that we stop talking about Martells cheating. I'm actually tired of Martells and Mel arguing. I don't want to see you on my screen anymore, Arionne. I think you need a lot of counseling. Okay? Martells needs a lot of counseling. There's no reason for you to be sticking your pen in and out everywhere like the damn drive-through. It's dangerous. So, y'all, that's really all I got for this review. We've been on for an hour and 20 minutes. It is 6:20. Started this interview on time. If y'all have had a good time watching me drag people up and down, follow me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. I will be reviewing Married at First Sight starting tomorrow. Check out the other shows that I review. I think it's some like Ladies Who List coming out on Friday. I'm gonna take a look at that. But if y'all enjoyed the time we had together, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Okay. And with that being said, I will see y'all on Thursday so we can talk about Married at First Sight. And then I'll see y'all for the Ooh Ladies First. I'll see y'all for the Ooh Ladies First panel. Okay. Hope y'all enjoyed this. I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.